I'm very, very honored to have the opportunity to interview someone who I just recently met, and she touched my soul from the moment she offered to babysit or pet sit our pets without even knowing us, and then donated all this cat stuff to us. And so our family calls her the cat lady because they don't really know, your name. So RaeAnn Andrist, 55 years young, divorced, 2 adult kids, 6 grandkids. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about your new business, CEO of Naked Printing. Love the name and your motto, everything starts with a blank slate. But I think what you teach is once your concept about once you set your mind to something, you make it happen. But I
Yes.
think this interview is mostly going to be about how you aren't afraid of failure. How do you teach that to parents and kids? And that what you're afraid of is not trying, but
Mhm.
the failure part, I mean, it's like, why? Why should I be fearful of that? And have you taught your kids as well as your grandchildren, how do you
Mhm.
teach them and yourself not to fear it? Because it is something that most of us are petrified of.
I think when you go through life and you have different trials and tribulations and you fail and you fall, but it's about getting back up. It's about getting back up and standing taller. And I think when you are living it and showing it, it's like faith with works, that you are being what you're talking about, that your kids it's your actions, it's not just your words. It's the ability to be able to have an open, honest conversation with them about anything, having the table open for them to be able to feel comfortable to come to you and talk to about things that they're afraid of, or about failing. Or I remember my daughter getting her first job, and she was 16 and she was so shy. She wouldn't even answer the phone. Sprouts called her up. And it's kind of funny because that's where she met her husband, and they've been together since they were 17.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
but yeah, the December Sprouts calling her up, and she was like so shy. She went in the garage to answer. I made her go on the interview, and she got the job as a bagger or whatever. And then, yeah, her husband, Brian, at the time, was a bulk foods manager there. And that's how they met. So letting them know it's going to be okay. And if it's not okay, it's still going to be okay. It's finding something good out of the bad, pulling a lesson out of it. It's not rubbing it in their face. It's allowing them to take those chances, give them the courage to do it, and teach them how to have faith with works. That no matter
Wow.
what happens, that they're going to be okay. And I wasn't always, the person I am today. Unfortunately, my kids would probably be totally different people if I was who I am today back then. I
So can you
wasn't
tell us about
emotionally
your journal? Your journey?
sure. So I got married at 21, and I had my son when I was 22, 3 weeks after my first anniversary. And then I had my daughter when I was 24. And I left my husband when I was pregnant with my daughter. He was emotionally and physically abusive. And so I decided that that's not something that I wanted my children to learn. So I made the choice. You can either stay in a bad situation, which so many people do, and I'm not knocking those people who do because I know how hard it is. Or you choose the higher road, choose the road that's less traveled, and I chose that road. So as much I don't know if it was fear or motherhood or I was always a shy child growing up. I was shy, and but I think that day, when I decided to make that choice and that journey, I decided not to be a doormat anymore. I decided that I'm going to have these children that I need to take care of the rest of my life, and I need to start being more assertive. So I think gradually I kind of grew out of my comfort zone. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to feel pain. When you're uncomfortable, when you're not in your little zone, you're growing. So
Mm-hmm.
trying to teach my children that, and that it's okay to be afraid. It's okay, but you need to talk about it, to express your feelings. So as communicative as I am, my kids are not very communicative. They're getting better, but I talk to them about everything. I mean, they're 33 and 30 to this day, and I still have conversations with my daughter, my son-in-law, my son, about personal things that they don't want to share with other people, and it's okay, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay not to talk about it. It's not okay not to face it. I mean, we're all going to fall. We all make mistakes. God knows I still make mine. But it's how you handle that mistake. It's what sets you apart, So
Mm-hmm. How did you find that courage though? I think some people want to be courageous, but they don't think they can. I mean, that's ultimate faith for you to fly to Hawaii. And you were just mentioning before we started that you had an accident prior to
yeah.
moving, and you did not let that phase you.
I came a broken individual to Hawaii. I'm not going to lie. So I was with my ex-boyfriend, and my house was sold, and I was at a stoplight, and an F-150 hit me, and I was hurt. I mean, I've never experienced pain like that in the last 10 months of my entire life. Chronic pains were debilitating. And when I started seeing, sometimes when you're in a situation and you stop doing, you kind of see who that person is, or the people around you,
Mm-hmm.
and how they react to that. But I was too far in to come out. So I'd already sold my house. I decided I'm going to go, I'm going to have faith, I'm going to do this. I just wanted a fresh start after everything that happened. So came up here, and it didn't turn out well for us. I ended up moving out on the May 23rd, but it was the best thing that I could have ever done for myself. So having that faith, I think when growing up, my mom was always a cheerleader, always, my mom was a single mom. So like back in the day, she rode a motorcycle. She used to put us in the back of a ranchero,
Wow.
and Betsy would do the hula. She used to put on Motown and make us all dance with her in the front room. So she was very, very vibrant and alive. And I think she always told us like we could do whatever we wanted to do. She didn't go to work until she was 30, and my dad got divorced. And that, she hadn't worked
Wow.
since she was a teenager. So I think watching her and just always, and even if we went astray or down a bad road, it's being a mother, you don't ever stop, I mean, you just don't ever stop loving them. You don't ever stop reaching out, and not even like reaching out, just like a text, hey, I love you, I'm here, and sometimes you have to give them the space. Sometimes people just need some space. I've needed space before. So you just have to be open and willing, and trust that they're going to come back, or that you're going to come back when you're ready. It's
Well, I think
okay to take a breath.
I think what you just said, the willingness or maybe the courage to give them space, because if your child is failing in school, they're not communicating with you, it's hard. How do you have faith when you don't? You know what I
Um,
mean? I mean, you really
yeah,
want to, but part of you feels hopeless. And I'm sure I mean, I just would love to know that
I don't,
secret mindset. I mean, that's a strong mindset to possess.
I think that's exactly what it is. It's the belief that I just refuse. I've just refused to give up. I've been in some bad situations, definitely not ideal. Like I said, we were talking earlier about being emotionally unavailable. I see a lot of that now. I'm definitely not that person now. I'm definitely not that person I was, a long time ago. I've made a lot of changes in my life, grown a lot, and my faith has grown immensely. But you see today, even with parents and kids, they're on their phones, or everybody's tuned in to something else. It's having that conversation, being engaged. We play board games. We go to my daughter's house and we play board games, together, and we engage with each other and act. And everybody gets to have their tablet time or whatever. But my daughter is very good about, do you eat dinner together every night? having that time and that grounding, that space, where how was your day, showing them that it's and being open to what they say and about who they are and what they like and what they don't like and why, and working with that. If you shut down someone, I think constantly like, you can't be that, you can't do this, or you can't, that's the mentality they're going to have is going to, you're putting little dents on their soul, like the little blemishes, and people carry that around. I've been learning a lot since I've been here in Hawaii, and you do the things that happen to you like all your life, you build a heart wall, and all those little dents, you collect that affect you in so many other ways, or decisions that you make in all the other areas of your life.
So parents who have maybe subconsciously created these dents, how do we improve that? Because sometimes it's default, they don't realize it.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of parents who they just see the grades being the only thing. I just met with an 8th grader and she said, "Oh, I can only get A's." How do you send that message? I mean,
I think you have to, like, sometimes good parents raise bad kids and bad parents raise good kids. So I don't think it's a matter of the stereotype on the parent. I think that kids learn different ways. I think that some are more visual, some are more, actual. So everybody learns a different way. So I think it's finding that way into a child, like music, or however they have that creativity or the ability to get them interested in it. And we're not all interested in everything. But I think it's trying to be a part of and not, so just trying to find out that what works for them, there's all kinds of different things that you can do depending on, your kids, your skill set or whatever. And they're all at different levels, like going to Zoom. My daughter has two 11-year-old, they'll be 11 in December, twins, a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. And being at home, they just started going back part-time to school. But I was there doing my BNI meetings upstairs, and there was 4 kids downstairs on Zoom.
Wow.
All with different teachers. So that's something to deal with. I mean, that's a lot, but it's handling it, it's being available and being present, So she would literally sit there the whole time, like, and go around and she would be present. She would be available.
Wow. I think you just touched on one of the most important things is be present, because I think we multi-think and multitask, and and kids know. Are you going to put your phone down? Are you listening? And I think when we have so much on our plate, how did you learn to be present with all the hardships that you've experienced?
I think, I guess it was, growing up, my kids, and I tell them to this day, if I could take one thing back, one thing when you guys were little, I was emotionally unavailable, coming from an abusive relationship and not, and this is back in 1990. So coming out of that and not having the proper tools to deal with it, or that, the right ways to work about it, or having that relationship with someone that I was able to open up to, is being in the world with, brand new baby and a 2-year-old and no skill sets, or, like, how am I going to do this? And that can be really stressful. And so I think I was there, but I definitely was emotionally, I went through the motions. But as far as being present like I am today with them or with my grandkids, definitely was not that person. So I think it just became over time and seeing who my kids, honestly, like seeing them go through whatever they were and just keep talking to them, just keep talking and just trying to be a better version of me. So I'm still trying to be a better version of me.
Wow. So how would you define what emotional availability is?
Being present, definitely being present. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's looking in someone's eyes, letting him speak, having ears bigger than your mouth,
Mm.
And not trying to, and trying to understand like what they're talking about. You can't really say, I know how you feel when someone's never been through that. You can't say that. Like people say, unless you walk 1,000 steps in someone's shoes. And I don't think you necessarily have to walk in someone's shoes to have empathy for them, but we're all different people and we can all go through similar things and all react to it differently.
Wow. So I'm just blown away. It sounds so simplistic, but I think it's something that a lot of us parents aren't aware, especially when you're right in the middle school age. You
Oh,
have a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, and there's so much pressure, in
oh
society to
yeah.
conform, to get the
Mhm.
grades so they can get into a good college, so they can get a good job. And so, how did all of
Yep.
this,
And you have to let your kids, like, some kids want to go to college, some kids don't. Some kids, everybody has a passion or whatever, but I think it's empowering that passion. And it may not be something that they end up doing the rest of their lives, but it's giving them that power. Because I know a lot of people that have gone to college that don't have a job.
exactly.
So college doesn't necessarily is not going to give someone the gateway to life. It's so many different attributes. But I think whatever it is like you have to have passion for it. You have to be
Hmm.
passionate. You have to find what is going to be your best attribute at what you do and have passion for it.
You think maybe that's what's
So
missing? I
not
mean, when
everything's
kids, yeah, if kids are, I'm sorry, if the kids rebel or kids
it's all
are,
right.
you know, not happy, do you think maybe part
Um,
of it is maybe not being able to, I don't know, find their passion or being something suppressed if you're feeling so angry? A lot of teens are just filled with anger.
yeah. Today there's like so much like this year has been so much,
Yes.
like this year alone. Yeah, I mean, and I like hats off to all the parents out there dealing with all that and the Zooms and trying to work and stay at home and losing their jobs and so many things have gone on. This year has been crazy. And so hats off to all of them who have been able to hold it together, and keep a structure and keep, and be with your kids probably way more than you want them to be for anybody, but still keep a smile on your face and still, like and take the opportunity to actually be available for them. As hard as that is, I think when you have struggles and your kids see you go through them and how you handle them is a lot. That's how, like they have a song, about a guy who's never, I forgot the name of the song, but it's an old song
Cats in the
about a kid
Cradle?
whose dad's always gone,
Yeah,
and
yeah, was
yeah,
it cats? Yeah, cats.
exactly.
That was,
It's
yeah.
yeah, it's true. There's a lot of truth to that. I mean, it's not always the truth. And I don't think there is like a magic potion. Obviously, if there was, we would all tell each other about it to save our souls.
Definitely. Well, I think I
You
notice a lot of
know,
moms are filled with shame, guilt, and just the feeling of being incompetent. So I was just amazed when I met you and I heard your story, and I thought just just resilience and courage to me. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about the birth of Naked Printing? I was just amazed that you just arrived in January and now
yeah.
have this business. It's
So
amazing.
I was part of, I had worked with another company, my business partner. I was part owner in it for 12 years. And it just had got to the point where it is the same kind of business I do now. I had just lost so many things had happened and feeling like every time I talked and I was very knowledgeable about what was going on, that it fell on deaf ears. So I was sitting at my desk, I had a beautiful home. I had made six figures. I had a nice car and I had, you know, very active, had everything, like good relationship. And I was miserable. I was miserable because I just wasn't happy about, my surroundings or what was going on and really having no control over it. So naked ink printing to me, everything starts with a blank slate. It's like getting back to basics. Is so walking away from a career that I had for 12 years, going through an ugly divorce with my business partner and not wanting any of that, it's not the way I wanted it to end up at all. but things happened, and it's about turning it around, and getting my passion back. So I've been in my field since I was 16, on and off, and I love what I do, and I'm very knowledgeable. I've been through every kind of printing, every step of it, offset digital, sales, a director, a CSR. So I've been through every aspect of it, but if you don't have passion for it, it doesn't work, no matter how much money you make. And it just doesn't make for a good end of the day, And I think that, when things happen, like when you have like chaos at work and when you go home, so when you have chaos at work and you come home, it's nice to have somebody to be able to talk to, or, to compress and to be able to get it out and then have a conversation. So that way you're all like fresh in the morning. When you have that kind of day and you come home to combustion, the two, they don't work. You have combustion, and you have that, and there's no release. It's like a tea kettle, that doesn't have a spout, and something's going to blow. And I think that's just what ended up happening in my situation. So, but, we all make choices and we move forward and we do the best we can. But it was just about walking away and starting anew. So.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. I think it really will open a lot of parents' eyes and what priorities really mean. Yeah. Because I think we do have to adjust, right? I mean, what truly is important. So there's one last thing that you think parents can benefit from hearing while they're struggling with a, middle schooler or those turbulent teen years. Any advice on how they can pull through what they think is an impossible phase?
You know what? I joke with my kids all the time, and I say the only reason why I let you live is so I could have grandchildren.
My chiropractor said that the reason why you have kids is so that you can have grandkids. It will be worth it.
And my kids even joke. They're like, "Well, Mom, we're a little jealous the way you are of the grandkids because you weren't that." And I go, "No, I wasn't. And I was sorry about that. And I go, I made all my mistakes on you." But I think just keep talking, and one thing I do know is like my daughter, especially, she was definitely the rebellious one. Like she had a phase. She's very good, but just keep talking, keep knowing that they're there. I mean, my daughter would come be with her friends, and she would be like, "Tell my mom what happened. Tell my mom." Like I was like one they could talk to, the one they could tell. So her friends were telling me things that was going, and it's like, wow, you should be able to tell your mom that. You should be okay with telling your mom that, but not everybody's different, but I think always be approachable, and it's not always easy, and you're going to have bad days, but when your kids see you living out your dreams, and when they see you not wanting to take less than your worth, and I've always told my kids, know your worth plus tax. That's probably the biggest mistake
I love that
I made when I was younger. Know your worth plus tax. I know my worth plus tax now. But when I was younger, going through it all, and when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to see out. It is.
It is. And you just feel that you're not even worth anything. I mean, your worthiness as a mom, as an individual, you base it on maybe the behavior of your kids or the lack of peaceful interaction.
Yes.
So I love that phrase. How did you find the worthiness though? I mean, how do we tell parents that, you know what, you are worthy no matter if your kids.
I don't think you can tell anybody that. I really don't.
It's something that you have to learn yourself. I
think, it's a feeling. Yeah, it's definitely something that you go through. Is something is doing different things, whatever brings you joy, whatever brings you passion. And I think that makes you feel worthy when you're doing what makes you feel good, and that's a good day. That's a good day. So I don't think there's an instant answer, and I don't think there's any answer. Like you have, like your book, you have so many different situations, so many, and I think with different parents and kids with all the different personalities and stuff, I think you just kind of have to find what works, and you're not always going to find something that works.
And that it's okay. I like that. That's what helped me through my depression. It's okay not to be okay. when my
Yeah, it
eldest
is.
texted that, and then I would look
Yeah.
it up, and there are books on that. It's okay not to be okay, because I think we
Yes.
feel pressured to be happy and to feel always that you're grateful and to, you know,
Yeah.
that we have to be okay or our
Yeah.
kids won't be okay. But I
Yeah.
love
But
how, yeah, it's like it's going to be okay even if you're not feeling it.
yeah, and if when you're not feeling okay, then let's figure out how to make you okay.
Mm.
But getting them to talk, getting them to keep the lines of communication open. I think, is a huge thing. And having them not be afraid to come to you. With whatever. And there's so many things now that different kids. I grew up in the '70s, and my brother was gay, and my sister married a black man. So I had a very diverse family. So it was like, whoa, and back then that was a lot for parents to handle or do whatever. But so my kids grew up very open-minded. They grew up, colors didn't matter, sexuality didn't matter. And I think and I'm perfectly happy about that. I love that they are so open and accepting with, all different kinds of people or behaviors. Nothing doesn't matter. That's not how they look at somebody. They look at somebody by who you are. So,
Wow.
uh,
That's
but
probably what helped though, when you teach open-mindedness.
yes, you have to let them be, especially today. There's so many, it's like my brother grew up and when it wasn't okay,
Mm-hmm.
none of that was okay. And so that, how hard, how hard, being who you are and not being able to be who you are. That's like soul crushing,
Yes, well, because you're
Eh,
suppressing your authenticity. You can't even feel
exactly.
comfortable in your own skin.
Yes. So when he didn't come out until he was 21, but wow, that had to be like a breath of fresh air, and it
Mm-hmm,
wasn't even
mm-hmm.
still a good time, but, it's like, yeah, it's crazy. And there's so much more of that now. And now there's even more openness and more awareness and understanding, but there's still people out there who, are different minded. So,
Yeah, probably the judgments. The judgments hurt the most, whether it's sexuality or grades or just the shoulds that we
yeah.
impose.
Or your shoes, or kids are mean. Kids can be mean.
Yeah, you're wearing the wrong brand. You don't have the
Yeah.
right fill in the blank, the right backpack, the right,
Yeah. And especially as teenagers, you're like, we all go through that awkward stage. Everybody does,
craving acceptance.
or just the awkward look stage.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
right,
the awkward looks.
you're finding yourself, you have your own little way of doing things, but we all go through it, like you're finding who you are, and I see like my grandkids starting to go through that now, my 11-year-old, and it's adoring, even though they don't think it is, and I get it though, but my daughter and son-in-law are just very open and very, whoever, they're twins, and everybody thinks they're identical, but they're not, but they're very different. They're like night and day. But my daughter and son-in-law let them each be who they are. Their style of clothing.
Wow.
One of them just cut her hair off short, because she wanted to look different from her sister. So it's just yeah, you have to. My 9-year-old granddaughter, everything's a unicorn. My daughter even lets her do her hair pink.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's letting them express that freedom, letting them, I think if you give your kids a little bit of freedom and then have the communication to trust them, then you have to trust that they're going to be okay. That no matter what they do, and even if they mess up, that you've given them the skill set and the knowledge to either come to you or, or fix it, find a way to fix it,
Mm-hmm,
have a
mm-hmm.
solution. I think that's really important. I think that running away from your problems obviously doesn't help. And Lord knows I've probably ran away from a few, and then they just get bigger. They're just better to face,
Wow, RaeAnn, thank you so much for the words of wisdom. I think sharing your vulnerability and your experiences will help like whoever watches this. I'm inspired now too, because I think, I don't know, as a mom, we end up judging ourselves and wondering if we're doing a decent job.
No, I know. And it's just times are different. Our parents weren't perfect by any means.
Right,
We weren't
right.
we weren't perfect. But every generation, like we take what we liked about our parents and then we incorporated that into
Mm-hmm,
our
mm-hmm.
relationship with our kids, and then we threw the rest away.
Right. I think what
Yeah.
we're doing today, I think too many moms have that pressure to produce very perfect children. And
Yeah.
so when we do face failures, we don't know, parents don't know how to feel that it's okay not to be okay. I think
But
that's it.
what's perfect? That's perception.
Yes, that's perception. And that's what I'm trying to,
Uh,
teach moms that we all, like you said, there is no perfection. The imperfection, right? The perfection is in the
mhm,
imperfection, and knowing
exactly.
that our kids will be okay no matter if they have 4 F's and 2 D's, or no matter if they fall asleep during distance learning. But I think when you're in that little world, you feel
Oh yeah.
so helpless and out of control
Oh
because you can't
yeah.
fix it. You can't make them do what feel that they should do.
There is nothing worse than watching your child fail and having to let them do that. There is no worse feeling than watching your child go down a slope that you have to let them go down. I know that. But there's no better feeling when they get down there to be down there before them to help them back up.
Wow.
So, but
I'm
yeah,
going
I
to
guess
remember
it's
that
just
quote. Yeah. That's a good one, because I think we fall with them and then we stop.
yeah, yep, exactly. Yeah, because when you're in it, it's hard. You know, life's hard now. I mean, especially these days, this is hard. You
Yeah, the
know,
pandemic has caused I don't know, it's just people don't know what to expect. It's the unpredictability, it's
you
the
know who to
scary.
believe.
Yes, yes. And that, will we ever be okay? But I love how you said, even though we don't feel okay, that we're
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
so
I know it's a Sunday and
all
I
right.
appreciate you taking the time to do this. I think you'll
Oh,
be my last interview of 2020. So thank
whew,
you. A great, great way to end. And I will let you know when it
okay.
airs, and I'll give
All
you a link
right.
to it. Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you so
RaeAnn.
much. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.